Web browsers such as Firefox are the access point to any website. But there is something about web browsers that disturbs everyone, which is the huge number of ads and pop-ups, which will not allow any web page to load faster and takes much longer. Plus, tracking your online activities, save them, profile them, and link them to your online accounts across the different platforms that you use. While you're checking your emails, reading the news, surfing the internet, and logging to your social media accounts, you feel annoyed with those thousands and hundreds of pop ups, ads, and loading a web page may take so long to show all its content. The problem is, you don't know what to do or even how to make it better. No worries, we got you. And that's why you need to watch this video. It's about how to access web pages privately and allow web pages to load faster, from anywhere, at any time. Heads up guys, there are some extra tips regarding privacy at the end of the video, so make sure to watch the video to the end. If you're new here, or How to Tech Tips team, we make weekly tech tips videos to help you use your tech devices and software efficiently. We also make reviews, tutorials on those tech products, so stay tuned. So guys, just hit that subscribe button, smash that like, don't forget to activate notifications, and let's get into it. Today's video will have two parts. In part 1, we are going to set up our Firefox web browser in a way that will allow higher level of privacy while you're visiting any web page and allow web pages content to appear faster, which will allow web pages in return to fully load faster. We will do the same thing in part 2 using Google Chrome. We will achieve this by modifying and tweaking some of the web browser settings and adding some extensions to it. I'll put timestamps in the description below in case anyone wants to come back and check how a certain configuration is done exactly. And don't forget, we have for you at the end of the video extra advanced privacy tips. So make sure to watch the video to the end. So first, you need to open the browser in private mode. You can do so by opening the menu on the top right and click on New Private Window. You can also get the private window by clicking Firefox icon in the taskbar and choose New Private Window. One of the main differences between the normal browser mode and private mode is, in private mode Firefox blocks some of the trackers, which we are going to explain later on in this video. So guys, let's start by opening the menu at the top right of the browser. Look down the list until you see Settings, and click to open it. You would see on the left side a lot of titles. We would start with the option Search. Here you can manage your default search engine. Search engines like Google come in handy when we look up something on the internet, or when you simply open your web browser and type in whatever you would like to look for. Google is set here in Firefox by default, which means the browser automatically uses Google as its active search engine. There are some other names which are developed and the privacy is in focus. One of those names is DuckDuckGo, which is recommended by many organizations who care about privacy. So DuckDuckGo doesn't save your searches and link it back to your account or IP. Next, open Privacy and Security, as there will be many things to change under this title. The first setting that we will change here is called Enhanced Tracking Permission. Web browser trackers are collecting in the background information about your interaction with the websites and more. Websites also use them to collect your personal information, such as your IP address and geolocation. Trackers also collect what, when, and where did you buy online, profile them and link them to your accounts and profiles to send you personalized ads. Some trackers may also involve in crypto mining processes, which means using your hardware resources in order to get cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, as you see down here. Those are the settings that you get by default, and we need to modify them. As you see guys, the same options are checked under custom, but we still need to tweak something down here, which has to do with cookies. The function of the browser cookies is to save your logins, shopping carts data, and such stuff. And as you see, we have 5 levels here, and the recommendation here is using the third one down. The problem is some of the websites that we visit include on their web page cookies from unvisited sites and web pages you have never visited before. On the other hand, cookies are important for the web pages to function correctly and don't break while you're surfing the internet. The 4th and 5th options are also recommended. Just beware of the warnings written near the 4th and the 5th. By choosing the 4th option, some websites may break, and by choosing the 5th option, many websites will break. Simply the 3rd is a good option. But if you want to take your browser privacy one step further, choose the fourth option. For the sake of this tutorial, I'll choose the fourth one, and I can handle it if any website breaks. If you're not sure what to do in such situations, just leave it on the third option, that will do it. After making your choice, you should see a notification down there telling you that you need to reload all of your tabs to apply those changes. I ain't gonna do it right now because we would need to restart our whole browser later. The next setting that we need to change here has to do with clearing cookies inside data after closing your web browser. It is not recommended to let your web browser keep all of your cookies and data saved. That's why we will check this box here. You have also the possibility to manually delete your browser's cookies, data, and cache, simply by checking those boxes and click clear. And confirm your choice by clicking clear now. Just beware of activating this setting, as this might delete your saved logins as well, username and password of some websites of what you visit. Next setting has to do with if we would like to save our login credentials, username and password for websites. So it is not recommended to keep them saved in your browser. For instance, if your device got hacked, that would be a problem. I know that some of you guys would say saving our logins makes our life easier, but don't forget that the focus in this video is surfing the internet more privately and letting the web pages load faster, with less pop-ups and ads. Our next setting has to do with browser history, the names of the things that you have downloaded before, and your search history. Some people would argue that leaving web browser history will help in faster browsing or easily finding again your browser searches, which is a good argument. However, security professionals recommend to clear them up, so it's up to you to choose either way. I always set them to never remember history and uncheck the address bar boxes down below. But again, you may choose to keep the browser history. Those of you who would go with the recommendation would be prompted to restart their whole web browser, as you would see after choosing never remember. So after choosing never remember, simply click on restart Firefox and it should restart just right after. Our next option to modify here is allowing permissions, such as camera, microphone, notifications, autoplay, and virtual reality. And you can allow and block them by simply clicking on that settings button. Down there you could see an option which will block any new requests to access your location in this case. All you need to do is check that box and that's it. After checking the box and saving, we would do the same process for the other options as well. If you're visiting websites that require accessing your microphone and camera, that wouldn't be a problem at all. You would still get the notifications from those websites that they need to access your microphone and camera. Those notifications will appear up there in the address bar, where the Firefox symbol is sitting right now. Those of you who are using Zoom web services in order to be a part of a video conference over their web browser could leave their camera and mic permissions unblocked, as those options might give them a hard time starting their video conference. The rest of you who are not using those type of services, they might continue blocking those permissions as I'm doing right now. The next one that we have here is data collection and use. Firefox collects the data of how users interact with the websites. They say it helps them developing their products by installing and running some studies in the background while you're surfing the internet. So of course it is recommended to disallow those permissions. You can simply do so by unchecking those boxes. As you can see the notification over there, telling us that we are no longer allowing this data collection. The last setting that we have down there is very interesting because one of our upcoming recommended extensions holds almost the same name and serves the same purpose, but with extra advantages. HTTPS is simply an encryption protocol where websites' content and our interaction with those websites, such as entering our username and password, is encrypted, which simply means it's not readable by humans. Let me show you real quick. What do I mean by this? I have hosted here a web server-like and a tool which the security professionals use to test their skills and help the web developers better understand web application security. This is their official website page, and of course they use on their web page HTTPS protocol, which is the good guy in this case. So we are going to act as if we are going to log in to one of our social media accounts. The username is Bob and the password is 123. The use protocol here is HTTP. As you may notice, I have set in the background a network sniffer tool called Wireshark, which could read web page content if set correctly. So by analyzing my web page logging attempt, we could definitely see that I have tried to log in using Bob as username and 123 as my password, and all could be seen in clear text because the web server like that I'm hosting is using HTTP protocol and not HTTPS. If you go back to the official website of the DVWA tool, we could definitely see that they use HTTPS and not HTTP. For that, it is always recommended to log on web pages which use HTTPS protocol by default. Or if that web page uses both protocols, you should have a tool enforcing web pages to only open using HTTPS protocol. So guys, that was the last of our settings modification, and now we are going to move on to browser extensions. So, get yourself a coffee and see you right after. On the bottom left in the settings, click on Extensions and Themes. On the left side, click on Extensions and search for uBlock Origin. You should see it at the top of the results. Click to open it and click again to add it to your Firefox browser. So, before continuing with installing this extension, I would like first to explain how it works. It's free and open source browser extension that blocks website pop-ups and block the ads, which will help loading web pages content significantly faster. In other words, web pages content, such as videos and images, will be fully loaded in a shorter period of time. uBlock Origins also blocks certain types of trackers and personalized advertisements. So, after we have explained this extension, let's proceed with the installation. Soon you should be asked to allow some permissions to your new extension. Confirm this step by clicking Add. Then you will be asked to allow this extension to run in the private window mode, which means the extension will always run whether you open Firefox in the normal mode or in the private mode. Confirm the action by checking the box and click OK. A new extension icon will appear in the toolbar, which means it's successfully installed. Click to open that icon, as we need to check some settings here. You're gonna see down there 5 options to click on. Click on the last one to open the dashboard. On the dashboard we can see that all of the privacy options are checked and active. You may close this browser tab to move on to our next extension. So search for Privacy Badger. You can simply click to open it. The difference between this extension and uBlock Origins is the type of trackers they handle. There are some type of trackers that are invisible and can be detected by uBlock Origin or any other ad blocker. That's why we need this extension to block them. And the good thing about any extension that you are going to install, that you can find its function down below. Same as the previous one, you can install it by clicking Add. Again, it will prompt some permissions to be allowed only for this extension. And again, you need to check that box to allow the extension run in both modes, normal and private. After that, you only need to click OK. A new icon will appear in the toolbar after that. It indicates that the extension is active by default and that you don't need to do anything else to activate this extension. The next one we have here is HTTPS everywhere. Just type in HTTPS. It's the first option top of the list, and you can open it by simply clicking on it. If you could recall, earlier this video, we talked about HTTPS enforcement tools, and that's one of them. It negotiates with web pages the type of protocol that should be used to transfer the data from the web server to open the web page, which in our case is HTTPS. If you happen to visit a web page that only uses HTTP as a protocol, all of our interactions on this web page and login attempts are readable in clear text to humans if certain tools are configured correctly for that purpose, or someone is sniffing on our online activities. Again, you can check that by looking to the left of the web page that you visit. If you don't see HTTPS next to the name of the web page, then beware of simply entering your username and password on that web page. As you can see, I'm installing the extension right now and will activate it to run in both modes. After installing and activating this extension, we could see 2 options over there if we open its icon. By default, it's activated, but you still can deactivate it if you want. And the second option down has one function. which is enforcing HTTPS. For instance, you try to visit a certain website and their pages are not using HTTPS as a protocol. That extension will show you a warning before you enter the page, whether to proceed despite the risk or not to continue. But you still can apply some exceptions if you trust the organization hosting that website or know the people stand behind that web page. And you can simply do that by clicking on Disable on this site. And now it's time for our extra tips. The last extension that we have on our list is called Decentralize. You can easily find it by typing the first three letters, DEC. Here is how this extension works. Some web pages from which you visit host a copy of their data and content in several places in the cloud. So, when you try to visit that web page, the web server stands behind that web page would try to provide some of its assets and content through those other places in the internet, aka cloud. Those other nodes or servers in the cloud would be geographically closer to you from where you initiated your request. By using this method, they achieve two things: reducing the load on the main web server and provide their content faster. But for many people, privacy comes first. For that, Decentralize will block requesting the content from different places and servers in the internet, which are geographically closer to them and might be under surveillance. So the content is delivered from only one place, one server, which could be geographically far from where you initiate your requests, and you would reduce by that the number of servers and places where they record your visit to that particular web page. So guys, the conclusion here, if you see your privacy as your first priority, then install this extension and it will be automatically activated. And if you realize that this extension slows down the loading of some heavy web pages, then deactivate it or remove it. The next tip that we have for you regarding privacy is in the About Config page. And if this doesn't ring any bells for you, then please keep watching the video, but don't follow the changes we're about to do now. So, open a new browser tab and type in about:config. You will be prompted from the browser to proceed with caution, accept the risk and continue. Click on accept or proceed and type in peer. We are looking here for something called peer connection. As you can see, I have already disabled it and set it to false, as it's true by default and needs to be changed. The function of peer communication is establishing connections between two users or laptops without the need to have a server to play this role or provide the required service. For instance, if you're a Zoom user, which is a service used to establish or participate in video calls and video conferences over the web browsers, this option here will play a role in establishing those type of communication and connections. So guys, if you are a Zoom services user or using similar services over your web browser, then please consider reactivating this option by toggling it back to true. That arrow that has appeared next to the toggle button would also reset the changes that we have just done. The next one on our list is geolocation enabled. Just type in geo and you should see it. The way the geo works as follows. Many of our visited websites request our geolocation through their crawlers. So if you care about not to give you geo information easily through your web browser, then simply disable it. And remember, you can come back here and enable it again at any time. The last extra tip that we have on our list today has to do with WebRTC. Go to the settings again, click on extensions and themes in the bottom left. Under plugins, you should see that video codec. The problem with that video codec is it complies with WebRTC, which stands for Web Real-Time Communication. It supports video voice communication between peers and generic data transfer between users. That's why a lot of data must be revealed between two peers or users, such as IP address. So again, if your privacy comes in the first place and you don't use any type of video conferences or video calls through your web browser, then consider deactivating this plugin. And this could be done by simply clicking those three dots next to it and choose Never Activate. And don't forget, you can always come back and reactivate it at any time, if needed. So guys, those extra privacy tips wraps up our video today. If you have any question regarding this tutorial, or face any issue after setting any of these options, just leave us a comment and we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. If you liked the video or felt like you have learned something new today, please consider subscribing to our channel, like this video, and check out our other videos. Thank you guys for watching, appreciating your support. You're amazing. We are How to Tech Tips team. See you in the next one.